Are we on? Oh, hi. I'm Cynthia Lyman, and this is
Julie Reese.
And we are here to talk about magical art of words and using psychology and positivity in your copy.
Yes, we are, and we're really excited to be here. We're glad that you were able to join us. So,
how do we go to the next slide? Just click down this one.
Okay, we're having some technical difficulties here.
Oh, that's not working.
Okay, just click
there we are. Okay. So our webinar host today, I'm Cynthia Lyman. I'm the Extension Marketing Manager along the Wasatch Front. And
I'm Julie Reese, and I'm the Extension Public Relations Specialist. And we were just doing the math, and we realized that we have about 60 years of writing experience between us. So that doesn't mean we have all the answers, but it does mean we've seen a lot of things, we've made mistakes, and we've learned from them. And so we're hoping to be able to share some of that with you today.
Yeah, we're excited to share this information. So what are the goals of this webinar?
So our hope is to help make your writing easier, to share some of the tips that we have learned over these 60 years, to help you think outside of the writing box. I think it's really easy to get kind of enclosed in this little area, and we're going to try and help you think outside of that. We're going to share some proven copywriting techniques, some good opening liners when you're struggling with getting your information onto your laptop or your computer. And we're also going to share with you some information that we got at a conference that we just went to this spring. It was called Social Media Marketing World, and a lot of this information we're sharing will be based off of a course that we attended by Mike Kim, and he's a personal branding and marketing expert. And he was really
copywriter.
Yeah, he was really awesome.
This is great. So the big question is, what are your goals? Don't start writing or do anything before you know what that is.
We ask ourselves that all the time. Anytime we start a project, it's just good to know what your hope is, what you hope to accomplish. Who's your audience? What do you want to achieve with them? And it really is a good question to ask before you start anything, whether it's writing or cleaning your house or whatever. Just
it's like, what's my
having a goal? Yeah.
So it might be to educate, teach about some new techniques, new research, or a how-to.
Mm-hmm. We do a lot of that in Extension. Maybe it's to inform, to tell people about an event that's coming up, or maybe just to inform through if you do a newsletter.
And also to ask for help or support. Donate your time or your money, and volunteering is also something that you might be talking to others about.
So the thing that they really stressed at this conference was making a connection with your writing, making a connection with your reader through your writing. And they said that when we influence language, we can influence thinking. So the way that you put your words together can really make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And the power of one word can be life-changing.
Yes, it can. And I'll show you an example of that. So Charlotte the Spider is one of the most effective writers of all time.
Absolutely.
She was an amazing marketer. She had to use one or two words because she didn't have a lot of space or spinning ability. I don't know how.
She couldn't be vocal also.
She couldn't be vocal. It all had to be through the written word. She had a voice. So it's pretty impressive when you think about it. So every word that she did had to really mean something. And she's got terrific and some pig, and there was, what else did she do? There was another one. But she really was able to bring about change through her writing.
Very smart spider.
She was a smart spider.
So one thing to understand your brand is that every brand has three identities. It's kind of like a three-legged stool. So it needs verbal, visual, and value. And all three of those must match. So the verbal identity of a brand is determined by copywriting. Visual would be the pictures, and the value would be what people think of your product or your organization is the value and how they perceive that. So we're going to take a look at some ads and see what you think on this. So this is a Louis Vuitton ad. And the question here is, does the copy, does the visual, and does the value all match? What do you think, Jolene?
I'm going to say no, not at all. I think you have a really beautiful picture. It creates a real feeling of peacefulness. And then they're writing words like price matching, coupons accepted, low prices every day. That just does not go.
That's absolutely right, because their value brand is much higher when you say with Louis Vuitton.
Absolutely.
So what about this ad?
I love that. It says sometimes home is just a feeling. And it's so true. I feel like the words that they've used there have created a sense that goes so well with that picture. I think it's peaceful, and it really makes you think about, well, what is home, and what's the feeling there? Mm-hmm. Much more so than coupons accepted, and so that all matches.
And you see the tagline below, profits will benefit something that they support. So I think that really goes along with that ad as well.
Right. So they talked a lot in this conference about relationship marketing. And it is not just about closing a sale. It's about opening a relationship. Not that we're necessarily in sales and extension and CAS, but in some ways we kind of are trying to get people to sign up for things or courses or whatever. But it really is about relationships.
And when you think about extension, we are the community outreach.
Right.
And so that makes perfect sense to me, that especially with extension, that you're opening a relationship with the community.
So this was the closing slide of the closing speaker for this conference. And interestingly, this was a conference about technology and the latest and greatest, but this is how they ended it: be more human. And I really loved that, because as they talked throughout the conference about relationship marketing, this is really what it all boils down to. We need to be human. Our audiences want us to be human. I just think that we need that in this day and age of technology and everything. We need that face, that human face, and a touch, human touch. And
it makes perfect sense with the computer age, that we still have that human connection. And so it's a perfect slide for sure.
This is one of my favorite things. And in our marketing office, all three of us writers and editor types have this hanging in our office: no jargon-laden gobbledygook. I think in academia, we're well known for being verbose, for using jargon and acronyms. That's also a thing too, that people just, unless it's like NASA or the FBI, people just generally don't understand the acronyms that we think everyone knows because we use them all the time. But you don't need to use long, impressive words to get your readers' attention. They just generally want you to cut the fluff and get to the point.
Love it. Clarity. Yeah, they want something, they want it to be clear. They don't want a contract to read the fine print.
Right. So I think the best copywriting tip that we could give is just to keep it simple.
Absolutely.
Get to the point, cut the fluff, cut the jargon-laden gobbledygook, and just keep it simple.
Love it.
So sometimes if we've written something, we toil over it, we get really attached to our words. I know I do when I write, and I just feel like I've worked so hard to get them and put them together. But then, you're, say, doing a feature story or something and realize, oh, I've got 200 words that I need to cut. And if you're ever in doubt if something should be in your writing, it probably doesn't need to be. If it's something you're like, I don't know, really, when in doubt, cut it out. I think that's the best rule of thumb. And I think if you look at each sentence, see what words really need to be there, and then you can delete the words that don't support what you're trying to portray or bring across to your audience, and just keep it tight. People's time is valuable, it's limited, and they don't generally want to read 2 or 3 paragraphs when just a few sentences will have gotten the same message to them.
That's why it's so important. That first paragraph is very succinct and gives you all the details right up front.
Right. And we will talk about that in a minute. There's a publication coach that I subscribe to named Daphne Gray Grant, and she's really an advocate of this ugly first draft. And it sounds like kind of an ugly thing, but her whole point is just to start writing, to get your ideas out there, get them out all, write them all out. And it will be ugly, but then to go back after you've got everything written and then start your editing and start your fine tuning. But she says not to do it until it's all written. And I really struggle with that because I just want to start out with a bang with my first sentence. The first time. Yeah. And I found that the times that I follow her advice, I have done a much better job. It works out well. So if you can force yourself into thinking that, because it's just important to get, I'll usually start out with some notes and get the information down on my notes and then just start tapping that out. And then you can go back and rearrange and cut and whatever you want to do. So
which one is the faster approach, do you think?
Well, she says that it is definitely the ugly first draft. Because I think about if I toil about the first paragraph or the first page or whatever, and then I finally get it written out, but then I'm going back again, you're doubling your work, really, is what she says. Sense. So it really is faster if you just get it all down and then go back.
Well, and you're throwing all your ideas out there. Maybe sure. Not all of them are good ideas, but right. They're all the things that are in your head.
Right.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. So I want to talk a little bit about what's in a name. So, they talk about product clarity, like product names, and telling them your customer exactly what the product is. These are podcasts, and from their description, what do you think that they're talking about?
Looks like Dr. Ryan Gray is hungry because it says he's starving. I don't know. Someone's sharing her story, but we don't know what that is. No stress, no growth. I mean, that's a pretty general topic that could apply to many things.
Yes.
So I couldn't tell you what the topic really is from these.
Probably not the best descriptors.
Right.
What about these? What do you think this is about?
Well, demystifying the Facebook pixel. It just gets right to it. You don't have any questions. It's just like, boom, this is what we're going to talk about. How I found, hired, and worked with my project manager. That's pretty to the point. Expert secrets and online strategies. Yeah, I think these are much more clear than that first one. And I think that just illustrates the importance of clarity and getting right to the point.
Facebook marketing, probably. Yeah. I mean, it's much more clear on what it is that we're talking about. So let's talk about writing a stronger opening line. A lot of us struggle with coming up with that first line. And I think that one of the best things to do is just to, again, get all your ideas out there. And one of the best ways to do that is to start with an opening line that opens that creativity. Like, I never thought it was possible, but, and then from there, you're able to say, I never thought it was possible, but most email marketing is weaker than Shaquille O'Neal's free throw game.
I love that.
Or maybe you say, I never thought about it, but that it was possible, but most fundraising tactics are older than my first cell phone. Do you still have your first cell phone?
No, I don't.
I have my red BlackBerry, and I was not my first one, but I still have that. That was really special. It doesn't work, but it looks really good.
But you've got it sitting on your dresser to remind you or something, right?
Yes. And so again, it's getting the creative juices flowing. So in this case, you take out that I never thought it was possible, and you still have a really great opening line with most fundraising tactics are older than my first cell phone, or most email marketing is weaker than Shaquille O'Neal's free throw. Again, it just opened the creative juices.
So here are some other opening lines that can really pack a punch and also help you be human and relatable to your audience. For instance, this first one, not sure if this is for you, but so it's just assuming that it may be, you're not trying to force anything on them. You're just trying to say, you may not want this, but let me just tell you about it. Mm-hmm. And it's just assuming that, they just want to hear about it, and that not necessarily that you're going to force it on them. They're not going to force it on them. Yeah.
Another great line, as you may know. I think that again is saying you probably already know this information. You're not talking down to them. Right. You're kind of trying to be more relatable and give them a reason to connect with you.
Yeah. The next one, I love this. You're never too young to be a great blank. You're never too old to be a better one. So put, gardener or leader or canning person.
Yeah. It appeals to
Canner.
your aspirations. It makes everybody think, oh, yes, I'm not too old to do this.
Or I'm not too young if you have somebody that really wants to go out and be in the garden and they're 10 or 14 or something.
Right. Gives them hope and aspirations.
Right. And I think that's part of being positive with your audience, of being human and just giving them, you can do this. I
love it. How about this one? I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to this. So again, not just assuming that they don't want to hear this, or they don't want your thing that you're offering them, but just kind of building rapport.
Yeah. And I also like it because you could say, hey, Bozo, did you get my email that I sent last week? But of course we wouldn't do that. But so it's just saying,
that's right.
You just, maybe you haven't gotten around to this, but let me tell you about this course that we're offering.
Right. The last one, just out of curiosity. Again, kind of like opening the door with them. Like, do you know this? Do you know that this can save you money? Or this is something that could benefit your life? But again, trying to make that connection. Some other opening lines.
This one, what do you really know about blank? So that's just a good way to, you could fill that in with finances or gardening or agriculture or whatever, but it's kind of a good segue to start introducing your topic and sharing things with them. Makes them think, well, what do I know about this? Or so.
And I love this one. I bet you're a bit like me. You're putting yourself on their level, or, basically evening the playing field a little bit and appealing to their
right. And it just kind of seems like it makes a connection.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the last one, before you make up your mind, is just a nice last chance to maybe say, here we have this event going on. Before you make up your mind about what you're going to do next Saturday, how about think about coming to Baby Animal Days or whatever?
I think that's really great too. Yeah. Because sometimes you just need a little bit more information.
Right. And that can also be a good way to just kind of be a closing line of one last bit of information that you want to share with them or remind them of.
Mm-hmm. So we have some other great opening lines. We're sharing them with you today. So, it's maybe great to take some notes. You have 3 options. That, again, is giving people, options. Obviously, it's because people don't like to be sold. They like to buy, and they like
to be able to choose, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you can say we have an online course, or you can go to our office, or we have something we can send you in the mail. These are your options. And that makes people feel like they're in control, and they can be the ones to choose how is best going to work for them.
Mm-hmm. Another one, what's going to be easier for you? Not necessarily the easiest, but what's going to make it easier for you. It helps them to think that you are also on their team, that you're looking out for them.
Yeah, that's good. The next one, just one more thing. And again, that was kind of goes with the last slide. Just one little bit more of information might help them get the whole big picture, or you may want to say one last little thing for the end. But not the most important thing. You want to get that up at the beginning, because if they don't get to the end, they won't see it.
That's right.
But again, just one more little tidbit that could be helpful.
I love this one. Every little step helps, or every little dollar helps, or every little volunteer hour helps. To let people know that they can be part of the solution.
Sure. And I think maybe people will feel like, well, I don't have $10,000 to donate, or I don't have time to let this be my part-time job to be a volunteer or whatever. But if they realize, okay, I can do a couple hours a week or a month or whatever. And I think just that feeling of, whatever you can do is going to be great. We'll appreciate it. And
the last one is, here's what happens next. Giving them a little bit more information. It's also like, it could be a bonus, or, something else that they could, get in the mail or an email or something like that. And it gives them like a little bonus.
Yeah, kind of a map for so they know exactly what's going to happen.
So where do we get ideas, inspirational copy?
Well, one thing they mentioned at this seminar was so interesting. They talked about Amazon as a free focus group.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, when you're looking for copy ideas, you can go to Amazon or any other website that has reviews and kind of see what people are saying, like the positive things that they're saying, like what words they're using, how they're expressing it, how they're talking about a brand or something. And it's really a great, I've tried it several times, and it really is a great way to get some thought processes going for you, like where do I start and what words are they using and what is, interesting or good to them. So we can pick things out of that. So whether it's just, whether it's Amazon or any other product, or even just looking around on websites, we can get inspiration from other places. And that's kind of good. Yeah, Google. Sometimes it's good to just get a starter.
I think it's inspiration. I think it is really true. Like artists will look for visually stimulating things. This is a great way for writers to get stimulating ideas for copy.
Yep. So in Mike Kim's, Mike Kim, I said it right.
Mike Kim.
We've used the wrong name for him before. So in his talk, he also referenced this woman, Sadia Munir, and she's a content manager at Social Champ. And she had 3 really good ideas that can increase interest engagement. And they're kind of psychological. The first one is create happiness and positivity.
Who doesn't love that?
So who doesn't? I mean, we live in kind of a dark world and hard things that are going on. And I feel like we're being pounded with negativity. And she just talked about how if we can bring in positivity and create the possibility of happiness, like in the picture we shared earlier of the sunglasses and, looking out the window, and it kind of created a feeling of peace. And I think people want that. They want positive things around them. And if we can, play up on that, so maybe like, do you want to have a beautiful garden and be surrounded by flowers or vegetables that you can feed your family or whatever, just that, that ability to create positivity with people.
And I think it's more motivating too, when you think you have optimism and something to look forward to. And that's why happiness and positivity, I think, are really important.
Yeah.
The next one is build curiosity. So you might have your loyal followers already looking out for your content, but there's those people that kind of casually lurk that can also be coaxed into hitting the like or the follow button. So that's really a great way to just get those people that are teetering or on the edge.
Right. Have their toe dipped in, but they're not sure. But
they're curious about it, but they're like, I don't know if I want to do canning and preserving.
Right. So yeah, drawing them in with your words and your encouragement and, letting them know it doesn't have to be hard. And, you might think this is a scary thing, but you can, and you can do this. And yeah, we can turn those casual lurkers into loyal followers. So
absolutely. I love that.
I do
lurkers. Yes. So the last thought there with her is that you create urgency, either through giving a deadline or a date that you need to take advantage of this opportunity by this date, because people need deadlines. And if there's no urgency, they will forget about it.
Right.
So I think that's really a good one too.
I do too. And just in our office, our boss will, we've got lots of projects coming in every day. And, he'll say, we've got this going on. And if you can respond to me by Wednesday at noon, then, we can get him the information by then. But it's nice to have a deadline, because otherwise it would just get lost in the file somewhere. And you think, oh yeah, I'll get to that later. But if they have that deadline, it really helps them. So, if you haven't planted yet, you should, because you only have 60 growing days for your carrots or whatever. It's,
absolutely.
So I just think it's, you don't want to stress them out, but I think if you just give them a reason to realize there's a little urgency and, to make a move.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. Be more human. Think about what draws you in. Is it the pictures? Is it graphs and charts? Is it a certain style of writing? What works for you will probably work for them as well.
And if you've written something and it bores you to death, chances are you're going to bore somebody else too. So put that human aspect into your writing and get somebody else to look at it for you and just say, does this make you want to take action, or does this make you want to go start a financial binder or whatever it is you're trying to have people do.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about what works for you, and that will probably work for other people too.
Mm-hmm. And I love testimonials. I think especially if you have a name, a face, and strong pictures, I think that it definitely is more motivating to think you put yourself in that position.
Sure.
Like maybe you can relate to someone a little bit more.
Well, and I think those testimonials too, like with Food Sense, we've used that a lot. Just, what were your lifestyle choices before, were you eating your fruits and vegetables? And then we can see after the program how that has affected them. And, mm-hmm. and I think it's really powerful. And you have a picture of somebody and it puts a face with it. And it's like, okay, it worked for them, so this can work for me. And
mm-hmm. Think about the 4-H kids and some of their projects and
sure.
programs, and what a difference 4-H has made in their life. And right. I think those kinds of stories are very compelling as well.
Absolutely.
So here are a few of our favorite ads. Fresh new gym smell. I love this one. Cancel anytime without pretending you did it. How many times have we signed up for those things? Earn your mac and cheese tonight. That's all about the gym membership. What about this one? They don't write songs about Volvos. That is a Corvette ad.
Little Red Corvette.
Kind of making fun of the Volvo. That's kind of the...
Do you want to sing that for us, Little Red Corvette?
No, I don't know the words.
Well, Little Red Corvette.
But how compelling is that visual?
Absolutely. That's a beautiful picture.
Visual. Here's another one. Talk about that one.
So I like this one because it's just simple. It's to the point. You see all the good things: egg whites, almonds, cashews, dates, and no BS.
And there's no artificial ingredients there.
Yeah.
Or words that you can't pronounce.
Exactly.
That is beautiful packaging.
Yeah, that really is. Very simple, but packs a punch.
Oh, this is for those of us that are a little bit older, because the young people won't know this ad, but only her hairdresser knows for sure. And the headline says, does she or doesn't she? It's all about coloring and the things that we don't want to share with everybody, whether we color our hair or not. But I think the visual, the copy,
mm-hmm.
and the value.
Well, and it draws you in because it's a question, and you're like, what does she or doesn't she do? And
that's a beautiful color.
Yeah. It pulls you in for sure.
Okay. I like that one too. So this is a snowbird ad. And as all of you in Utah know, that is one of our top ski resorts. And this was a negative testimonial, a negative comment about snowbird being too advanced and too difficult. So they've turned the negative into a positive in their billboard campaign, saying, yes, we are too advanced, basically for some people. But if you are an expert skier, this is the place for you. And I think they do a beautiful job on that.
Well, and there are times that we will get negative things, and as quickly as you can turn that into a positive. They could have sat around and been depressed and sad that this one person that thought it was just ridiculous and, too difficult, but they turned that into a positive thing. And I think any chance we can, if we get something negative, there's usually a way to flip that into something that can be a positive thing. And
yeah, I agree. This last one is a good one.
We just thought this was a beautiful, simple ad, a nice picture. It's bright and just little sprinkles of water. And, it's got the copy's simple, but it gets the point across. And I think that was
Conservation Garden Parks ad. And I think it speaks so perfectly for slow the flow. Basically, most people overwatered their lawns.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a great message, especially since we've had all this water this year, that we really don't need to be watering our lawns
mm-hmm.
that much. So
our closing tip for you is to have at least 2 sets of eyes on everything that you send out. We have had some, if it's not possible to get 2, at least get 1 and have it be somebody that you feel confident in their editing abilities. But we've had some kind of crazy things over the years, and I've shared this one before in a webinar, but it's too good not to share again. So there was, it was quite a few years ago. And it was before, no, we did have spell check back at that time, but it was one of our writers who was telling a story or writing an article about pantry pests, weevils and bugs that get into your food and into your pantry and all the problems that come about from that. Well, it went out as panty pests. So
yeah, that's not good.
So it's a whole different,
right.
whole different
Spell
topic.
check wouldn't have caught
No,
that,
because
right?
pantry and panty are words, and so anyway, that went out to the newspapers, and this was back in the day when people had to retype. When we'd send things to the papers, they would have to actually retype them, and people retyped panty pests, and it was so it was a pretty famous thing years ago. But that just remember the tale of the panty pests, because the meaning can get changed really quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
Without that R, things really got changed.
And and learn how to make edits on your social media posts. I definitely have posted things before and have had to go back and make edits. So it's a very easy thing to do, but you don't want to be sending out typos and that's just a bad thing. So
that's kind of our rule of thumb, is to try and get for sure one, and if you can, get two sets of eyes, because a lot of times you know what you mean to say and you think it's clear, but somebody else will look at it and go, what are you saying here? And that it's really been, it's a beneficial thing and a safety net too, to have the couple of sets of eyes on things.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
So this is a quote that I love. My coworker Lynette Harris has this on her as her tagline on her email. I don't think writers are sacred, but words are. They deserve respect. If you get the right ones in the right order, you might nudge the world a little, by Tom Stoppard. So I think that just kind of sums everything up about the importance of words and the importance of copy. And
words do matter.
They really do matter. And the way you say something, if you're being condescending, can turn somebody right off. But if you're being positive and you're being human and you're helping to pull them in, that can make them, make all the difference and make them decide, okay, I do want to do this, and this would be a great thing. So,
yep, we want to make people feel good, and we want to be the organization that is having a positive influence in the world. So we wish you well. If you have any questions for us today, we'd be happy to address them. Comments are not in the chat box, but at the bottom of the screen, right? Do we have any?
Not yet.
We forgot to mention that up front. So if you have any questions on writing good copy, or you just need editors, Jolene is a fabulous editor, and so is Donna. They are great writers. And I think, you just have to take a chance sometimes with your writing and write it. And then you have editors like these gals that will help you out if you need some.
So feel free to contact us if you have any questions, and if we don't know the answer, we'll find it.